All right, guys, let's get going on some Freddy. We want to finish this book soon. Chapter 6 is called Soap Bubbles. Later, when my dad got home from work, my mom called, "Freddy, dinner's ready. Come to the table." I bounded down the stairs 2 at a time, raced into the kitchen, and plopped down in my chair. It smells delicious, Mom," I said, sticking my nose into my plate of spaghetti and meatballs and taking a big sniff. "Freddy, get your face out of the plate," said my mom. "You're not a dog. You need to eat with a fork." I picked up my fork and was about to stab a meatball when my dad grabbed my arm in midair. "Hold on there a minute," he said. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Look at your hands," said my dad. "They're filthy." "Oh my goodness," said my mom. "They are covered in dirt. You need to go wash your hands with soap right now." "Oh, Mom, I'm so hungry," I said. "Can't I just start eating?" "Not until you wash your hands," said my dad. I jumped up from the table and ran over to the kitchen sink. I turned on the water, quickly rinsed my hands, and shook them dry. Then I started to walk back to the table. "Hey, Freddy, didn't use any soap," said Susie, and I glared at her. "You're not the boss of me," I said. "Look at his hands," said Susie. "They're not even clean." I stuck my tongue out at her when my parents weren't looking. "With soap, Freddy," my dad said, pointing to the sink. "Go back and use soap. Soap is extremely important." "Fine," I mumbled. I squirted a few drops of soap onto my hands and I scrubbed them clean, and then I sat back down. "Let me see your hands," said my dad. "Hold them up for inspection. I need to see the backs and the fronts." I held up my hands for him to look at and then turned them over. My stomach grumbled. "I think my stomach is asking if it can eat now," I said. "Yes, you may eat now," said my dad, chuckling. I stuck my fork in my plate and started slurping up the spaghetti. "Whoa, slow down there, Freddy," said my dad. "You sound like a pig," said Susie. "Slurp, slurp, slurp." "Where are your manners?" said my mom. "Please take smaller bites, Freddy, and no slurping." I nodded my head but kept on shoveling in the food. "So how did your hands get so dirty?" asked my dad. "What were you doing this afternoon?" "Well, Josh and Robbie and I were going to go skateboarding, but then we saw that Mrs. Golden had a lot of weeds in her garden. And as a random act of kindness, we decided to clean up her garden for her and take out all the weeds." "Really?" said my mom. "That was a very kind thing to do. We actually had a lot of fun, but my hands got dirty because I was digging in the garden." "Was Mrs. Golden surprised?" asked my dad. "She was out walking Baxter, and when she got back and saw what we were doing, she was really surprised." "I bet she was," said my mom. "She said that she had hurt her back, so she hadn't been able to weed her garden in weeks." "Oh, that was very thoughtful," said my dad. "I'm sure Mrs. Golden really appreciated your help." "I just love this Random Acts of Kindness week that your school is doing," said my mom. "It's such a great idea." "How about you, Susie?" asked my dad. "What did you do today?" "Kimberly and I baked chocolate chip cookies." "You did?" I asked. "Where are they? I want 1 or 2 or 3. "Oh, they're not for you," said Susie, and I frowned. "Why not?" "Because we made them to give away. After we finished baking, we got out our art supplies and made special cards that said things like, 'Here's a special surprise just for you,' or 'A little something sweet to brighten your day.' Then we put the cookies in bags, attached one of the cards, and put them in people's mailboxes around the neighborhood." "What a fantastic idea," said my dad. "I'm so proud of both of you," said my mom. "You made other people very happy this afternoon." I slurped up my last bite of spaghetti, and then I lifted my plate up to my mouth and I started to lick it clean. "Freddy," my mom yelled. Oh, this has a picture of the cookie bag that Susie did. "What are you doing?" "Cleaning my plate," I answered, while I continued to lick. "Put that down right now. You're not a dog. We clean plates in this house by washing them." "Oh, that's a great idea, Mom," I said. "Can I wash the dishes tonight?" "You don't want to wash your hands, but you want to wash the dishes," said my dad, shaking his head. "Yeah, it's another random act of kindness. Mom did all the cooking, so I can wash the dishes." "Do you want to help me, Susie?" I said. Sure," she said. I picked up my plate and carried it to the sink. Susie helped clear the rest of the dishes, and then we got to work. "I'll wash, and then I'll pass them to you, and you can load the dishwasher," I said to Susie. "Okay," she said. I turned on the faucet and filled the sink with some soapy water. I picked up the first plate and I dunked it in. Some water splashed out of the sink onto Susie's shirt. "Hey, watch it," said Susie. "We're washing the dishes. We're not taking a bath." and I laughed. Here's the first one, I said, handing her the plate. She put it in the dishwasher, and we continued this way until all the dishes were loaded. Is that it? Asked Susie. Well, wait, there's one more thing, I said, and I pretended to reach into the sink for another plate. But I really just stuck my hand in and grabbed some bubbles and blew them in Susie's direction. Gotcha, I said. Susie wiped the bubbles off her cheek and reached over, stuck her hand in the sink and grabbed some bubbles and blew them at me. Now we were in an all-out bubble war, blowing soap bubbles back and forth at each other. Before we knew it, we were covered in bubbles from head to toe. And just then, my mom walked back into the kitchen and came running over to the sink. What in the world's going on here? She said. Susie and I laughed. We're having a bubble war, we said. I thought you were washing the dishes, said my mom. We're all finished, I said. So we were having a little fun. Well, your fun is making a big mess. Here, she said, handing each of us a dish towel. Dry yourselves off with these and wipe up the floor. And then you both need to go take a shower. In the actual shower, not in the kitchen sink. We are at chapter 7, called A Little Help. So we have 7 and 8, and we are done with our kindness counts, our random acts of kindness, friends. So this week we'll finish up that book, okay?